Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Babbling Irons breakdown video with myself and Sloth today. Right back is a position we need, and we've been linked with another one, this time Mazraoui of Bayern Munich. This is coming out from Florian Plettenberg, one of the biggest journalists in the Bundesliga, saying that Man United and West Ham are exploring deals to sign him. The first concrete talks have taken place, and he's top of the list for both of us and keen to play in the Premier League. Still 26. It looks like Bayern Munich are willing to let him go. They originally wanted 30 million euros. However, the market does not support this amount. That is an understatement. And now Bayern and Munich are trying to get 20 to 25 million euros, but realistically, it's more likely to be 15 to 20 million euros. So interesting link, Sloth. For those of you who aren't too clued up on who he is, here's a little bit of an overview of Noussair Mazraoui. He's a Moroccan international, around 6 foot, right-footed, 26 years old. His contract expires in 2026 in June. Estimated value of around 30 million euros, as we saw from Florian Plettenberg from there. And you can see here his heat map from last season. And he's very much a right back / attacking right fullback, I would say, to put it into layman's terms. But yeah, another right back, obviously Wan-Bissaka, Kyle Walker-Peters, they were the top two, Sloth. And now we've got Mazraoui in the mix. Are we putting pressure on Man United here? Because it says that that is one of their targets as well. Is it kind of trying to force their hand, or is there genuine interest here?
I think it would be forcing the hand. You know, we heard the X said that is a tactic we're looking to do this window, and we're looking to try and force through moves and get a better deal for ourselves that way, which I think is very welcome news. Quite often we kind of just get the the sharp end of the stick with quite a lot of deals, and I think it's good to hear us operating a different way, but it's not exactly one that gets me excited, I'll be honest. Like he is one of those players who I think would potentially thrive at a big side and then really struggle at someone like us.
100%. I mean, let's just get straight into it. Let's look at his stats from last season and how he compares to others in the top 5 European leagues. I mean, it looks pretty good from the eye, and then we're going to get into the kind of logistics of it. But you can see there he's in a very high percentile for a lot of the passes per 90, accurate passes, forward passes, passes into the final third, progressive passes. So again, it's the way Bayern Munich play is very much, he's got the license to be that attacking fullback with limited defensive work. So all of these passes are going to be forward passes realistically. So again, it's slightly skewed, but it's one of his best assets. We'll talk about that in a bit. But, you know, you look at the very top of the graph, at the top of the screenshot here, successful defensive actions per 90. He's in the 35th percentile, and defensive duels per 90. He's pretty low down. Defensive duels 1 is actually quite high in terms of the percentages. But again, it's slightly skewed because of the lack of game time he had last season, which is another massive point, Sloth. Obviously, he's played 19 games last season, and this is the injury record that he's had for the past kind of 7 or 8 seasons. And you can see there he missed over 19 games last season with 5 different injuries, totaling 96 days of absentee. And you can see it's kind of a trend as well. 3 injuries the season before, 4 the season before that, another 4 the season before that. So it's bringing in a player that is injury prone, and also, again, probably going to be a little bit more expensive in terms of what Bayern Munich are trying to demand. So what would you say his best traits are as a right back? Because we can see there from the data that it seems like he's very much more attack minded rather than a defensive solid right back that we probably need at the club at the moment.
Yeah, I think that is a very generous way of putting it. That he is a very good technical footballer. He is not a defender, is probably how I would say it. Anyone who watched Bayern this season and will know just how poor they were defensively. And I couldn't believe those stats when we were talking beforehand and looking at this. I'm really shocked because he's very comfortable on the ball. He's athletic. He can get up and down the wing. However, he could not tackle to save his life, and he is easily outmuscled. He is very prone to just giving the ball away, and I think we kind of talked a little bit last summer about James Ward-Prowse and how the stats kind of didn't always tell a story. And obviously he came in and did very well in parts. And, you know, if he were to come to join West Ham, I think hopefully we'd get a similar sort of step up. But he's someone who will try and hit it at the opposition defender, get a throw in, and it doesn't work. Like, you know, if he does, it very much like will spoon back off him and go out for the opposition throw. I would say he was one of the biggest weak spots in that Bayern defense, and they conceded a lot of goals last season. So that should give you an idea about that side of his game. Going forward and carrying the ball and playing it into the wingers like Sane that they have, you know, he's strong in that department. When they play it back to him, his delivery into the box is absolutely shambolic. People complain about Soufal's delivery. This guy's delivery into the box would make.
I mean, look, you can see it there as well, Sloth. Yeah. Look, crosses per 90. He's, you know, the amount of crosses is low, but accurate crosses are around what, the 9th percentile, which is really, really poor.
Yeah. Oh, he would make Soufal look like Kevin De Bruyne. His delivery is
respect him.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, you know, that's how poor I think his delivery is. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Soufal's crossing is underrated, but even then, well, yeah, but I think even then, you know, he would make anyone look good, and it's a worry that I think the initial price tag is as high as it is. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think there is a bit of dark arts going on here, and we've seen a couple of stories that say maybe this is a tactic to try and get Man United to lower their price tag on Wan-Bissaka, mm-hmm. so we can move in for him. And I think that is the deal to be done there.
This video is sponsored by Emotive. Emotive provide cutting-edge digital services, solutions, and training to companies and businesses of all sizes. Emotive have worked with some fantastic brands in the past, as you can see behind me, the likes of Apple, Google, Tesco, and of course, Babylon Irons. Emotive offer 4 key services, the first being digital solutions, the second being professional training and coaching, the third being fractional experts, and the fourth being AI readiness. We're going to be working with Emotive on our channel to improve how we showcase the data to you guys in our breakdown videos and data analysis videos. If you want to find out more information about how Emotive can work with you, make sure to scan the QR code now, which will take you to emotivetouch.com, where you can find out more details about the company, and the link will be in the description. A massive thank you to Emotive once again for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. Agreed. And yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because we've got a comparison with Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well, just so you can see a little bit of the different. Again, they've played similar games last season. I think Wan-Bissaka played around 22 league games, I think 30 matches in total, but you can see the difference between Mazraoui and Wan-Bissaka here. So again, defensively, they look kind of similar. Obviously, Mazraoui is a little bit better in terms of the passes to the final third, etc. A bit more progressive in his passing, and again with the dribbles. And you know, he's a more offensive fullback than Wan-Bissaka. We knew that already. Does it surprise you that their stats are quite close in terms of the defensive statistics?
Yes, yeah. That surprise is a very generous way of putting it. I think he is being covered majorly here by the way that Bayern play, the way that they would normally generally dominate sides. So they would have a lot more of the ball. Those passing stats would go up because he'll be looking for his wingers. He'll be looking for Sane and Gnabry, and you know, he will generally get positive stats because he will be linking up with them a lot. Mm-hmm. But as I mentioned, teams would just hit him on the break, and that was Bayern's downfall. And quite a lot of the time, that would be on either side. So I don't really know why those stats look as impressive as they do. I think a large part of that is because he was available for less games than Wan-Bissaka, but also I think the games that he was available for, generally Bayern looked a little bit stronger. I think they controlled more games, and as I said, he was able to make that those numbers look better, because at the end of the day, you have to also factor in that Bayern were a side that massively crumbled this season. And as good as his stats may look in that, his side also dropped and hemorrhaged goals. So I could have the best stats in the world, and you could be filling that graph. But if your side's conceding goals and dropping points, it doesn't matter. It's one of those things where a player like this, I don't think would necessarily be a great purchase for West Ham, because the money, the wages, the injuries, but then also the potential to be exploited when we sit back more. He is far more vulnerable in that area as opposed to someone like Wan-Bissaka. And I think Man United, as much as they kind of underperformed, they did not hemorrhage goals in the same way that Bayern did, and they didn't tend to be, shall we say, as pleasant on the eye to watch as Bayern were at times, where they would dominate games.
Yeah, I mean, Wan-Bissaka played around 2,000 minutes last year, and Mazraoui played around 1,200. So pretty much half of the game time that Wan-Bissaka had, which again is why the data is slightly skewed when you compare them. But the bottom line, the bottom line, the bottom line of this is Mazraoui isn't really a defensive-minded right back, and he'll play right back in a system like Bayern Munich, where he can be a lot more forward-thinking. There's limitations to the amount of defending you would have to do in a Bayern Munich side in comparison to West Ham. Shock, I know, but in terms of his progressive play and his composure on the ball, he would bring a different level, I would say, to that right back position. I know Kufau is pretty well adversed as well, but he's not like the best technically. He's not one of the most progressive passers. He's good at crossing. He's good at running the channels, but he's been pretty solid defensively for us for the past few years. I think it's slightly deteriorating now. He's getting quite old, but Wan-Bissaka is the polar opposite of Mazraoui as a profile. They're completely different players. So yeah, I think we're trying to play the hand of Man United a little bit, trying to do a bit of the dark arts in the transfer window, which I don't mind at all. And then obviously Kyle Walker-Peters as well. He's definitely going to factor into this too. So it'll be interesting to see which one we go ahead with. We may be wrong. This may be a genuine link to Mazraoui. We may be trying to get this deal over the line. So we'll see what happens. If it did happen, Sloth, for around, let's say 20 million, rate that out of 10?
I'd say 6. I'd like maybe a 6 or a 7. I think, as I mentioned, he's very good on the ball, and he will find players like Bowen and Kudus with his passing going forward. But defensively, he's very vulnerable. And I think, particularly in a league that is as physical and counter-attacking based as the Premier League is at times, there's pacey, powerful wingers here who will cause him exactly the same problems that he had in the Bundesliga. Yeah. And I think that would be the big issue. If we were playing a 3 at the back, next season, I think, no, that's a decent addition. But I just kind of worry that if we go forward at the back, he would constantly be leaving his right centre-back exposed. And though, as I mentioned, his ability to link up with a Bowen or a Kudus or anyone in that midfield would be great, I think it's a bit more risk than reward, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I'd probably give it a 5 just because of the injury record and the lack of minutes played. And it's just, I feel like it would happen again. The kind of injury record speaks for itself. We've been through it. He's not someone that's been clear of injuries for a long time now. So I just think the wages you'd have to pay, the money that we'd be spending on it, I think there's better options out there. I'd definitely rather one of Wan-Bissaka or Kyle Walker-Peters over Mazraoui in terms of value and also the player profile we'd be bringing in. But yeah, let us know what you think in the comments down below. Would you like to see Mazraoui in a West Ham shirt next season? Do you think there's any truth to these rumours, or are we actually trying to play the hand of Man United a little bit in the transfer window? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And Sloth, until the next one.
Come on, you eyes.